Hello and welcome back to Football Index Moneyball. Today I'm going to be going over the December review of the pick of the day players so far, along with my portfolio overall. So this has been a really good month for the pick of the day. I've been looking forward to this review as it's around 3 months since I started the channel, and as I have a long-term trading strategy, I think 3 months is a good amount of time to look back at and see how the early picks have been getting on. One of the things I'm going to try out at the end of the video is a best buy now section, where I take a look at a past pick of the day player whose price I still feel offers good value in today's market and whose video I think would be worth revisiting. I'll also show an updated profit target analysis with the same 3 players that I used originally, just to see how those players have moved, and also the comparable players as well. So if you can stick with me to the end, then let me know what you think of that section and if it's worth doing again. So following a change of tactics after the dividend announcement, some of the more recent picks of undervalued players with PB potential have managed to take down the PB for me this month. I think this is going to take some beating in terms of the div returns in a single month. From here on, I'll be looking towards the January transfer window. A lot of the picks I've made recently have had that in mind, so this month is a time that I would expect for some of the cap app for those picks to start materialising. So let's start the review by taking a look at the headline numbers here. So the average profit on these picks has increased to 31.3% for the prices on the videos. Considering the average duration is still only 60 days, I'm pretty pleased with that. It's well on track for my 12-month average to return 100% on each player. But I will say I don't think that can be extrapolated out because the rate from this month has been pretty good. And I think it's been lucky in terms of the PB wins. To win PB's always got a little bit of luck involved. So to get so many this month was probably an anomaly. The stat that I added to the spreadsheet this month is the average dividend yield of the picks, which is currently at 4.5%. Again, after 2 months, this is a great position to be sitting in, I think, and I'm looking forward to hitting the 90-day average duration mark, as for me that's a solid amount of time for the pick to materialise some of the profit. So in the last monthly review video, we had a few players who were vying to be the first into the 100% club, and I'm pleased to say that we now have 3 picks who managed to cross the line. In terms of the biggest winners in the series so far, top of the list we've got Chris Smalling with a combined return of 122%. This includes 16p in PB for his star man win on a gold day a couple of weeks ago, and 2p in IPDs from the same game. I'm really pleased with this one, as I actually bought into Smalling in the summer at 24p, so I'm showing a really big profit here. But hopefully some of you agreed with the analysis and managed to get on him close to the 36p price from the video as well. I think there's a solid chance that Smalling could get into a squad for an England friendly. Even if he doesn't make the Euros, I think that would be enough to really push his price up in the new year. So I also think that he could possibly take down another PB if he gets a good performance or if he's playing on a silver or bronze day. So I'm still pretty confident even at the price he's at now. In second place, we've got a review from less than a month ago in Rajini Anglan. This pick has been an absolute rocket since the video, rising from 41p to 77p, and I'm kicking myself really for not investing bigger in him, as it's one of the smaller holdings that I've invested in for the pick of the day series purchases, mainly due to the fact that I didn't deposit much in November. In fact, I didn't put any more money in November. So I had to sell some players to fund the purchase, and I only managed to get a smaller position. Nangland could easily have been sitting at number 1 here if he'd managed to hold on to a star man a couple of weeks ago where he got beaten in the very last game of the day by Dimitri Payet. But thankfully, Monday night he managed to break his duck for the season and do the business on a bronze day and get star man. And he's also raked in 7p in IPDs so far. Having watched his last few games, I'm confident that this won't be the end of his rise or the last PB he manages this season. I think that by March he could be up there as the top returner for the pick of the day players. And if he manages to stay fit and maintain his form, then who knows where he'll be at the end of the season, considering that he's on loan from Inter Milan and they likely aren't going to want to retain his services, so he could be up for a transfer as well. The one thing I am wary of is the fact that he's retired from the Belgian national team, so he may see a bit of a drop at the end of the season if people don't think he's going to get a transfer or if he ends up confirming a permanent transfer to Cagliari. So that's something to watch out for towards the end of the season. Then the third player who just sneaked into the 100% club is my first ever pick, Sebastian Rudy. He's possibly my longest hold in my current portfolio apart from Pogba. Unfortunately, I'd guess that not many of you saw this video and even less of you probably bought him. But I actually think he's still good value at his current price again, having just broken back into the Germany team and considering his PB scores so far. The only downside would be his lack of goals, but I think if he does nab a game winner, then he could definitely be in with a chance of the PB. And his price is still so low. I see there's limited risk if he's going to be going to the Euros with Germany. In terms of the top dividend returners on our list, Munir El Hadidi at Sevilla is currently top of that with 21p in PB, following 2 Gold Day top forwards and 1 star man, and he also has 2p in IPDs from when the video was made. Considering that the price on the video was 68p, this is a pretty impressive return, and if it wasn't for the lack of opportunities in the league for him, then I think we would be seeing a much bigger profit on this. I really didn't expect him to have such a struggle to get into the team this year, and even so, he's got some decent capital appreciation. He's up at 88% overall profit, but I think if he was getting a game regularly, you could see him easily breaking £1.50 with those kind of dividend returns. So the one negative this month is the extra couple of players in the red. But the biggest loser we've got currently is 20% down, and the fact that there's only 4 players out of the 26 I've done so far, and they're all relatively young, so I'm not too worried about the potential in the long term. I often get asked when I would sell a player who's losing, and I think unless you desperately need the money to withdraw or you can see better value somewhere else, or unless something fundamentally has changed about the reason that you bought the player, then you're better off just waiting or even topping up. I'd say since the drop in youth players after the dividend announcement that the prices of Kangin, Lee and Traore seem to be fairly reasonable. I wouldn't say they're excellent value. With Hertha Berlin's real bad form recently, resulting in them getting a new manager in Jurgen Klinsmann, hopefully they'll be able to turn their form around and Wolf can get in with the goals again. And Ryan Fraser was a strange one due to the transfer speculation on the day the video came out of him possibly moving to Liverpool, which affected the price by quite a lot. If I'd managed to get the video out when he was £1.15 in the morning when I started making it, then it probably, we would be showing a profit right now. But as it happened, I posted the video at £1.42, which is about as high as he got. Hopefully some of you managed to get on him after that, because that was one of the popular ones, to be honest. And I do think that he's going to probably get higher than that £1.42, because I really think he's going to go in the January transfer window. So now moving on to my annualised profit spreadsheet for my own portfolio. So I hold quite a lot more players than the ones that I make videos about, and overall I've not managed to benefit quite as much as the pick of the day players have individually. But it's been a decent month for me after a stagnant October, with a total profit of £720 and £594 of that coming from dividends. This is a 27% increase to my all-time dividends total, and it's by far the best month I've ever had on the index for dividends, I think. My overall profit figures increased by 4.4% and my portfolio value is up by 1.7%. Now I'm actually pretty happy with this, as it seems to have been a tough month for most traders, and I've spent a lot of time over the last couple of months prepping for January, as I think this is going to be the beginning of a boom period. Based on the way the trading went last season, I actually thought there would be a dip in October because that happened last year as well, so I'm really hoping that things continue in the same pattern as they did. The transfer window can also usually help to attract new players, and I'm hoping for some media dividends and cap up on some of my bigger positions if they manage to get a move. One thing that I found in my FI journey so far is that the 80-20 rule seems to apply when it comes to profits for me, in that 80% of my profits on a player seem to come over 20% of the time. There's often long periods of inactivity I'm waiting for things to develop, followed by a rapid rise, similar to what you may have seen on Trent and Kroos recently. So fingers crossed we can get some of our transfer picks to have similar reactions. And my first best buy now player that I'm going to go through later in the video is definitely picked with that in mind, the possibility of a move and a fast rise. My annualised ROI has taken a bit of hit after 2 slow months on the index, and it's now down at 92%. The main focus of my strategy has been to try and minimise the risk. So with only 4 of the 26 players down that are featured in the videos, I'm pretty happy with that annualised ROI, and I'm also hoping that in January it can get a bit of a boost. Finally, the annualised dividend yield is up to around 13%. I'd expect this figure to settle in the region of around 10% this season, so it's a good reminder of how important the cap app is in terms of your profits. So that's all I'll cover today for the review. It's been a good month on the index, and as I've said, I've got some real high hopes for the next couple of months too, so I'm looking forward to the next review video. So to finish off, as promised, I've got my first best buy now, and for today I've gone for Carlos Alenia at Barcelona. Here I've got an update. On the left I have the original profit target analysis spreadsheet, and on the right I have the new one. And the first thing I was going to point out is the comparable targets that I went for. So at the time they were a little bit cheaper than Carlos Alenia, but as it happens they're both losing right now. So it turns out that Alenia was probably the better pick in the short term even. He's not started a game, he's not really been making the bench, but there was a link recently to a move on loan to Tottenham. Now, Mourinho's moved there now, so that probably throws everything in the air. But I do think he's going to get a move away, whether it's to another Spanish side or to a Prem team. A Prem team would obviously be huge for him, but even in another Spanish side, the person I look at and think that Carlos Alenia could emulate really is Martin Odegaard. He's only 1 year older than Odegaard, and he's a similar type of player in a way. He's probably not quite as creative, but he definitely could put some big PB scores up if his past performances is anything to go by. Looking at the prices of the three targets that we used for our low, mid and high, you can see that Valverde's managed to get a few games and he's increased by about 40%. Rain Adelaide is just hovering, he's a little bit down, probably about 8% down, and Houssam is also down a touch. But Lyon have had some pretty poor form themselves, so I think these prices are actually fairly decent for them to those two players. But for me, even though Alenia is dependent on a move, I could see him immediately jumping to at or above Rain Adelaide and Valverde if he got a move away somewhere. So with 50% and 43% on the table, I'd much rather take the risk on a potential move for a player than try and pick a youngster who might not win PB. And then if he does get the move and starts performing, then I think Hawaa's target is definitely within reach for him. So should be exciting in January if there's a lot of speculation about him. I do think any links to an English team, he's potentially got MB wins as well. So yeah, if you didn't see the video first time around, that's one that he's only 4p higher than when the video was first made. It's someone that I've continued to top up on since I made it in October. So it's probably worth your time to go take a look and see what you think. So that's all I've got today. Thanks for watching, and if you've not checked out any of the other videos, then go take a look on the channel, see what else is up there. There's lots of strategy and past pick of the day videos, and any comments, let me know. I appreciate the feedback and all the support I've been getting.